Hey yogis, we are back with another shorter version of Yoga for Runners by request. And I do respond to requests if I see them. But that being said, we are going to do a little bit shorter of a routine so you can sort of add it on to your either pre-run or your post-run. So a little bit of prep or recovery depending on what works best in your body. So as you can see, I'm sitting here in Thunderbolt pose, Vajrasana, which took me, I would say conservatively 5 or 6 years to enjoy in my body. And now I find that I like this a lot. But as you sort of go through your yoga journey, you may find that poses that seem impossible will become accessible. You just have to keep coming back to them. So with that in mind, let's come into a tabletop. And you can always pad your knees, right? You've got your Five Below gardening pad available. You know I always do. And we'll just find some early cat cows, dropping your belly. And as you inhale, lifting your chest. And then as you exhale, pushing away from the ground, closing off your chest. So just 1 or 2 more times doing that. And then we're going to come into a step-by-step spinal balance. So first things first, let's take our left leg back behind us and just find a little shifting forward and back with our weight. It's good for your ankle. It's good for your calf muscles. And then you're just going to float that heel up. Point your toes to start and then give a little curl down of your left hip. If you do that, you should feel like some lightness coming into your right hand. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for being able to pick that right hand up. And then I want you to point your toes to the ground. And then a little bit of activation of your belly here. Nothing extreme, just enough to get the juices flowing. And then the hand comes down, the knee comes down, a little shift of the hips side to side. And then the right foot will come back, plant your toes. And we're just getting a little wakey stretch on your ankle and on the calf muscles in your right leg, your gastrocnemius. My dad was obsessed with the gastrocnemius. So then you're going to lift your leg up, point your toes, and then as you curl your right hip down a little bit to keep your hips level, you'll find some more weight is coming to the right hand. Now you can take your hand to your shoulder if that's better for you, because extending out creates some demand on your spine. So if that's too much, hand to your shoulder. That works for me. So you be where you need to be and then activate that belly up to take out some of this curvature of your low back. Breathe. And then hand down, knee down. We're going to do some big hip circles as runners, walkers, hikers, ambulators, whatever you are. You need to make sure you wake up all parts of your hip compartment. So let's go right back into that spinal balance. Left leg up, toes point, curl the hip down, point the toes to the ground, and then you should be able to free your right hand. And then we're going to bring the elbow and knee together underneath you. Find a little cat in your back, press into your left hand, and then open up. And then one more time together underneath you. Don't worry if you wobble. And then open up, hand down, knee down. Whoo. And then you're going to do the other side. So let's take the right leg back, point the toes, curl the hip down to square yourself to the ground. Left hand reaches, and then activate your toes if you like, and then elbow and knee together. Inhale as you open, bring some more weight forward, and then elbow and knee together. And then as you inhale, open back up, hand down, knee down. Now we're going to pause here and do some arm circles. Going forward and back. And if you need to open your chest while you do that, that's my preference, as opposed to locking the shoulders and the hips down. Let's get some range of motion going here. And then you go to the other side. We don't want to be so rigid in our practice that we don't let our body find its own way. And when we're warming up, we need to find some ease. So walk your hands out, drop your chest towards the floor. My preference here is that you keep your forearms elevated, unless you're like just so dippy that you bring everything down that low. Maybe your forehead rests, maybe it hovers. Breathe here. It should feel good in your upper back. And then we're going to come back into our tabletop one more round. You're going to take your right knee out to the side and you're going to draw slow circles. Okay, so circle going all the way around the circumference of this movement, right? Do a couple going backwards and a couple slow going forward, and then go to the other side. One side may feel more available than the other, and then always go backwards. But we're really just looking for range of motion. All right, and then little brief trip back to child's posture. I'm doing a little narrow kneed here because I like that. You can widen your knees if you want. Forehead down if you like. And then from here, we're going to lift up into a downward facing dog. Nice and wide. Pedal your feet. You can hear my ankle cracking. And then we're going to take a stable breath. I'm widening my feet because that really helps me find space and ease in down dog. And then the right foot's going to come forward. We're going to bend in and out of our front leg. Now remember, friends, these blocks are your friends. So if you're struggling with getting your hands to the floor and it feels like a lot of work, let's take some of that work out by bringing the floor to us. And then you're going to step forward and step back. So again, this should be part of your routine if you're warming up your legs. And then we're going to start to turn into a side lunge. You can keep your hands on the blocks. And it may seem a little clunky, but who cares? Walk over here, right? So if you're struggling for the ground and it puts too much pressure on your inner thighs, let's take some of that pressure off. Look, it's easy enough to make the modifications. The problem is our ego is like, I don't want to use the blocks. The blocks feel good to me. I'm feeling pretty tight these days. So now I'm going to walk back towards the top of the mat. Look, I've put the blocks right back under my hands. And then I can find a little curl up with my chest. And then I'm going to step forward and come all the way up. Hands are going to come to heart center. We're going to reset here for a second and then big breath in. And then watch as I come forward. Look how deeply I'm bending my knees. I don't want to hurt myself here. I want to just sort of welcome early movement, and my hamstrings are always tight. Always, always. So why would I make it worse than it needs to be? And then when you lift up halfway, see this bend in my knees? I'm not straightening my legs. That would feel like torture. And then when we plant our hands and we step our feet back, we pause and then we lower to the ground. So push a little bit forward maybe with your toes and then go all the way down. And once you're here, let's bring our fingertips to the ground and find a baby cobra, elbows pulling in. So you should feel this in your back. Your back is really important for running and walking and hiking, you guys. It stabilizes you. We're going to lower down, push up and back to child's pose, which is my favorite transition. And then back up into our downward facing dog. Now, if you don't like down dog, take a tabletop, find some movement in the tabletop. Maybe you like down dog better if you widen it out. I don't know. And then we're going to bring our right foot forward. Stay nice and stable here because we're going to lift up. Just for a moment, arms are coming up above our head if that works for us. And then we're going to work on some stability here. You're going to step forward into a wide chair and step back into a crescent. You may have to adjust once you get there. We're going to do that a couple times. Maybe you bring your hands to heart center. Okay? So you're going to step forward into a wider chair, step back into the crescent lunge, then you can raise your arms. It depends on your stability. Hands to heart centers, a little more centering as you step back, left foot is forward. We're going to do that one more time because I like things in threes. Hands to heart center, chair pose, left foot back, arms raise, breathe. Step forward, chair pose, step back, left foot forward, crescent lunge. See, my heart rate's coming up. It's good. Get the blood flowing. And then hands will come down. You're going to step back, maybe step back wide. Bring your knees to the ground if you prefer, and then lower all the way down. Elbows are pulling in, hands are pressing down, fingertips just is for a variation, right? And then down, up into a tabletop or a child's pose. And then you can come back to tabletop or tuck the toes, lift up into down dog. I'm just taking every opportunity to find some opening in the back of my legs. Now, if you like to lift your right leg, go for it. Bring your foot forward. We're coming right back into that crescent. And then hands are going to come to heart center. Zip towards the center line of your body and give me a little twist. If you're a flower person, you can open your arms. You don't have to. Hands are going to come back to heart center. We're going to turn back to the top of the mat, wide chair. Then this right leg goes back just where we were. Take a breath to prepare. Squeeze in with your thighs, and then a little twist towards the left. Maybe open the arms. Back to center. Step to your wide chair, and then all the way up. Really nice. Deep bend knee, forward fold for those of us with tight hamstrings. And then lifting up. The key here is straight spine, so we don't really care about the legs being straight. And then hands plant, step back, wide feet if you like, press forward with the toes if you like, and lower all the way down. One more cobra. You can be on your palms this time if you like. Nice amount of lift here, shoulders away from the ears, and then we go down all the way back. Child's pose. And then lift up. Tabletop or down dog, you get to choose, and guess what? Nobody's watching you. Isn't that beautiful? And then your left leg's gonna lift if that serves your purpose. And then you bring that left foot forward. We come all the way up, really strong in our crescent. Beautiful. Hands gonna come to heart center. Squeeze inward first. Twist with the top of your back, right? Should not be feeling a lot down here. Woo! If you're flowering, go for it. This time we're going to bring the right hand down. So bring your left hand to your hip, right hand down to the ground, maybe fingertips, and then open it up. Beautiful. You should feel something in the outer hip that should feel interesting. You can be on a block. And then the hand comes down, and you guess it, step forward, lift up into a chair. Woo! So much chair today. Activate your booty cheeks towards each other. It's a lovely feeling. You got to have glute activation for running, walking, hiking, anything repetitive in the forward plane, right? All the way up. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Plant your hands, step back. We're going to lower to the ground, all the way down. And then we're coming into a really mild, and I mean it, mild locust. So you can even bring your hands to your outside of your hips. And then that'll help you kind of calibrate the sensation, even like poke around in your back muscles. And then if your toes are lifting up a ton, I'd love it if you dropped them down a little bit. So let's moderate the sensation here. You should be able to hang out while I'm talking. Because if you're working so hard that you're like, just shut up and move on, then you're doing too much. So I want you to just be mild here. And then the hands will come up, lower the feet, cobra if you like. All the way back to your heels if you like, and then down dog. Really good. Okay. Take a moment. This is where you come back to your breath. This is where you check in with your body, where you widen your stance or find a different orientation. Maybe rotate your hands out a little bit depending on your shoulders. So this is the time for you to kind of reclaim your body. Okay. And then if it helps you to bring your feet closer so you can lift your left leg, go for it. Foot down, all the way up. Hands to heart center. You're going to step forward into chair. I know you were hoping that we weren't going to keep doing this, but we're going to. Now you're going to step that left foot back. Arms are going to lift here. Whew. Brief respite here. Hands to heart center. Squeeze in first, then twist, then open if that works for you. And then your right hand is going to find your hip, and the left hand is going to come down to the ground. See how my back leg is a little bit tight in? Step it back a little bit. That'll help your twist. I know, just little adjustments that you don't know to take until somebody gives you that concept. So I want you to just feel that concept here for yourself, and then bring your hand down. Instead of stepping forward to chair, tilt your hips up, palms come down if that's possible, step your foot back, and then we're going all the way to the ground. Locust, round 2. So I want it mild, okay? So if you're feeling a lot of compression here, like right at your waistband, take your toes down a little bit, let your chest come down a little bit. I know it seems like crazy to cue less, but we have to be able to moderate things, right? And then as you're doing a little bit less with your legs and your shoulders, activate your belly underneath you. Maybe bring your hands up to your shoulders. Squeeze inward. Should be able to move your head freely. And then squeeze your booty cheeks towards each other, squeeze your inner thighs towards each other. This is where you can add intensity without adding too much back bend. So if you have a cranky back, don't make this your priority, make activating inward your priority. And then hands come down, toes come down, maybe a cobra, and then back into a child's pose. And then up into a down dog. Really good, really good. All right, just a couple more things here because I want you to be able to get going with your day or your run or recover from your run. So let's bring your right foot forward, okay? Dial the back heel down. You're gonna see my back, no big deal. We're just gonna open up here into a little warrior 2. You may need to crawl your toes forward, bend in and out of your knee to find some good width here. You should be feeling a little action on your left inner thigh. That should feel good. And then you're going to reach forward and straighten the right leg as best you can. This is where a block could come in super handy, right? So you just take a moment, grab the block, put your hand on the block, and find a beautiful triangle pose. So my goal here for you is to stack your chest and your hips in the same plane, not for your hand to touch the floor. And then you're going to come down, put the block back at the top of the mat where you might need it, step back, and then let's go right back to down dog. I know, right? You're like, no locust? Hey, you can do locust all day long when you want to, but we got to keep moving. All right, so bring that left foot forward. Turn your heel down, open up, warrior 2. And again, be a little bit greedy with your space. So you should be able to bend in and out of your knee. And then feel that left inner thigh sort of wake up here and then open. Take a moment, and then you're going to reach really far forward. That should increase sensation here in your groin area already. And then as you straighten, there's Mr. Block or Miss Block, whatever you want to call it, and then we open. So getting a nice long stretch here, stacked shoulders, stacked hips. If you want to do something extra, look up at your hand. And then gently bring your hand to the ground, set the block aside, step back, lower all the way to the ground. Now this time we're going to do a little up dog just to add some intensity. So tops of your feet stay down, elbows pull in, push up into a cobra, and then extend your arms. If you want a little less back bend, float your hips up. Otherwise, let them kind of sink down, let your chest be proud. And then we just turn over the toes, go back into down dog. Really, really good. Okay. Left foot forward, turn to the long side of your mat. And again, this is where the blocks can be your friend. Okay. So we're just going to hang out here in a side lunge for a second. And then if you are interested in manipulating your body into a Skandasana, Skandasanas are really good for us runner, walker, hiker people. See how my heel is lifted? If you want to work on getting the heel down, you may have to lift your hips up. It depends on your priorities. Now, take your heel and pull it towards the center line of your body. Woo! And then you're going to go to the other side. Bring the blocks with you if you want. Now, Skandasana is where we turn that left heel up. See how I just like shimmied my heel underneath me and I'm sitting on the back of my leg? This is perfectly acceptable, and you can pull the heel back here. Don't get wrapped up in this foot needing to be flat. It can be. It's pretty intense though. You may need to support yourself on blocks, and then you're gonna really just pull that heel in. Should feel something. And then let's come into like a bent knee forward bend situation, but keep your chest level. And then just go side to side. And then your hands will stay on the ground. Your hips will tilt up. I'm going to turn my toes a little more forward and see what I can do here with a forward fold. I much prefer a standing forward fold to a seated forward fold like this. Okay, so just sort of figure out if you like gravity or not. And then we're just going to hang out here for another couple breaths. Should feel something along the entire line of your leg, hopefully not just at one point, like the attachment point behind your knee or the attachment point underneath your butt cheek. That's a bad sign. We got to stop doing that if that's what's happening. You're going to bend your knees. You're going to release into something a little bit softer if that's what you're feeling. And then we lift up, and then we turn to the top of the mat. Step your foot back, pause in a high plank. Now, we're just going to do a couple training things. So I'm going to need you to just gut up with me, okay? So press down into the floor, a little bit of cat action in your shoulders, and bring your knee forward. Right knee forward, take it back to a float. Squeeze your glute. Right knee forward, try to kiss it. Back, squeeze your glute. One more. Right knee forward, back to a float. Bring your knee forward, bring the other knee forward. Vajrasana. Whew. So if this is not restorative to you, you can sit on a block, okay? We got to do the other side, but this is just our little break and just working on thunderbolt pose. You can always sit like this, tuck your toes, sit on your heels. You can elevate your hips, okay? So that's for next time, because we're going back to the knee in situation. So high plank, a little bit of cat in your back. Left knee is going to come in, try to kiss it, and then take it back and actively squeeze your glute. And then bring your knee in, lengthen it out, actively squeeze your glute. Knee in. One more on this side because my left glute is dead. And then bring your knee forward, bring the other knee next to it, and have a seat. And I'm going to turn towards you. Here's what I'm going to tell you about yoga stuff. This is what I tell my class all the time. Not every pose is for you, but you don't know until you try. And maybe it's not for you today, but it might be downstream. 6 years probably it took me to like this. 6 years. When have you been patient enough to wait to like something for 6 years, right? Maybe when you're a kid and you're like, I want to like wine, but wine tastes disgusting. Then you start off with like a sweet wine, like candy wine, and then you work your way into the less sweet stuff, right? Maybe you don't drink. Maybe you've got another thing that you're working on liking. I don't know. Maybe it's kale for you. So what I'm trying to talk to you about here is like building up a tolerance for certain things. And like I could sit here forever, but I'm not going to, because I want to do a couple more sort of stretchy, opening kind of things with you before I send you on your way. Okay, so we're going to come right into one of my favorites, bound angle. And I want you to be honest with whether jacking your feet up into your undercarriage is a good idea, or if you can bring your heels forward and create a little more space. So we're trying to open up here in this hip crease. And if it feels like your knees are in your ears, what can you do to create some space there? It might be moving your feet further away from your hips, and that's okay. If you want to hinge forward with a straight back and apply a little more sensation here to the outer edges of your hips, that's fine. You can gently pull yourself forward. And then if you want to round, once you hit your sort of limit, that's fine. You'll start to feel the stretch in your back a little bit more when you release your spine. So keep in mind, there are times when we try to neutralize the spine so we can focus the stretch where it needs to be. And then there's sometimes where we bring it in and say, you can have a piece of this action. Go ahead. It's up to you. Okay. Now, this is one of my favorite things to do. I tell you, I don't know why, I just love it. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna bring your left heel in towards the center of your hips, and then you're just gonna pick your right leg up. So this might be, and then see how I'm sort of rocking to get my sit bones underneath me? There's several ways to do this rock the baby. You can hold your foot like this and hold on to your knee, and your shin can be really far away from you. I also like the forklift approach where you stick your arms underneath and support. My back is not straight, it's rounding forward a little bit, but we want to try to elevate our spine. And then you can just rock here. My personal favorite way to do this is to take the bottom of my foot, stick it in my elbow armpit, and then wrap my other arm around. And then we're just sort of rocking the baby. You don't have to rock if you don't want to. You can sit there and hold. If this is available to you, my friends, stuff like half lotus should be available to you, and we'll talk about that. But this should just feel interesting. And this is an outer hip, sort of inner thigh, groin area stretch. And if you hate it, what else can you do? Can you bring the shin down in front of you and lean forward a little bit? Yeah, sure, why not? We're switching sides anyway. So right heel comes in, and then you're gonna pick your left leg up somehow. And remember, it can be all the way out here. It does not matter, right? Be where you are, not where you think you should be or where you used to be. Be where you are in the moment, okay? And then I'm gonna do my little wrappy wrap because I like that. But remember, you have the forklift option. You can hold on to your knee, and then I still got it. I can still jig a baby, I'll tell you what, until I die. I was jigging babies when I was 4 years old, so it's gonna take a while for that to get out of my system, probably death. Right, so if you need a baby jig, you just bring it over. So we're just gonna rock, and then I'm gonna find a little stillness so I can just create a little more sensation. But see how my toes are just like chilling? Like I'm not locking down this leg. I'm just concentrating the stretch there. And then for those of you that are like, what did you say about half lotus? If you can get your knee really close to your chest, there shouldn't be much of an issue getting your leg down here, the pinky toe edge of your foot towards your hip crease. And if that's interesting to you, then I invite you to try it. And then the way you get the other leg on top for full lotus is that you free that leg out, you lean forward, and then you just sort of slide the foot up, right? So we don't want to yank the shin up and like torque the knee. You're just sort of like angling it and sliding it, right? And so then you're like, ooh, do runners need to be able to be doing full lotus? Absolutely not. But if it's in your body, then why not take it? And it should be something that you start to work your way towards if it's interesting to you. But if you're like, nope, it's killing me, I don't like it, shin out in front, let the other foot come back to the ground, and then you're going to hinge forward. Same benefit without damaging your knees. If you have bad knees, be really smart about the things that you're going to try to accomplish. And then we're going to come down onto our backs. Couple easy bridge here just to get us finished with our preparation or with our post-run session. So lifting, and then the key to this is activating your glutes. So you should be able to poke around here and it's nice and firm, right? And then you're going to push down on your big toe mound. It'll bring your thighs a little bit more in towards each other. And then you're just going to hang out here for a second. You feel your legs active. You feel like things are turned on, but you're not in distress. And then lower the hips down, and you're going to just walk the heels forward just a smidge, maybe like 2 or 3 inches. Toes are up on this one. Lift up, same activation, right? Squeeze the glutes, thighs towards each other. And now you're going to pull those heels back towards your glutes. This is magnificent for glute activation. You should do it all the time. So breathe here. This is a little more earthy. And then hips down, and let's windshield wiper. And then if you like, you can do a little figure 4 recline here. And then sometimes we bring the knee into our chest and we add a little lift and lower of the heel. So this is an alternative, my friends, to doing half pigeon, especially if you have knees that are a little bit cranky with you. And then you're going to bring your foot down, and you're going to cross the opposite ankle, pause here, and then maybe you bring the knee in and you hold and support. You just lift and lower. Just working on that kinetic chain here in the back of your leg. So half pigeon isn't always appropriate, okay, in its traditional expression. So what are you going to do instead? This is the least weight bearing, problematic, avoidant option here to do something similar to half pigeon. So think about that. Think about valuing this for its own thing. And then let's just chill out for a second. So you can lengthen your legs if you like. You can widen your feet, let your knees fall inward. It depends on what feels good in your body. Maybe you crawl your toes forward to do that. Take a little bit of pressure out of the outer hip. And then we're just going to breathe here for a couple seconds. You can always hit pause now and then just go full Shavasana. But if you're like, no, I did this pre-run, now you're ready to go. Now you're ready to go. So I wouldn't necessarily take a 10-minute Shavasana and then have to ramp up your energy system and to reawaken your body. I would just sit up, fix your ponytail, bring your hands to heart center, and just have some love for your body. Whatever's going on with your body, whatever limitations you're feeling or hesitations you're feeling in certain systems, just be real gentle with them. Have a lot of compassion for your body, especially if you're going out there and hitting the road and doing a lot of work. Just be mindful about how your body's responding to that. I spent a lot of years pushing through a lot of pain and discomfort, and I thought that that was just how it had to be, and that's not how it should be. So let's be a little more generous to our bodies and create sort of positive pathways of use. And when we do stuff like this, we're on our way. So thank you guys for practicing today. Even if you're not a runner, which I am not really anymore, this is a great warm up for your life. Namaste.